I don't even remember what I say at the beginning. Slightly flour, whoa, that was way too much. Okay, my battery just died. Ooh, buddy, this is still very hot. The honey one is a disaster. Hello, it's Kristen, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a very long time. Today, I'm gonna revisit a recipe that I posted back in 2017. It's the cheat puff pastry recipe. That one actually has quite a few views. And I haven't made it probably for like a couple years now. Like I made it again after I made that recipe video. I usually just like make a recipe and then it's like I really want to eat it and then I eat it a lot and then I get tired of it. So I haven't made it since then. I'm gonna revisit it, watch my old video, which should be nice and cringy. I'm gonna see if I can change it to make it better. I did get a lot of comments on this video, so I want to go through and make sure it's still a sound recipe. And if it's not, well then I'm gonna see what works today, what doesn't work, and then I'm gonna develop it and hopefully make a better recipe. So it's a beautiful process and I'm gonna eat a lot of pastries in the meantime. I have the video pulled up on my phone. I've already measured out all the ingredients and I'm gonna pretty much be using the same techniques minus the flour here. I'm gonna use 225 grams of flour to start instead of 250 because I don't anticipate needing that much flour, but I did put the remaining 25 grams on reserve so that when I roll out the dough or like when I start laminating it and things like that later, I don't need to get more flour, or if I need it now, then I'll have it. So it's prepared. And yeah, if you want to see me revisit a very old video of mine, then please join me along this journey. Let's get started. I already measured all the ingredients, but I wanted to show you the lemon TikTok hack, which I was really surprised works. I actually saw this on Instagram. I think Delish, I think they posted a video being like, does this hack work? And she poked a hole on the bottom of a lemon and then was able to squeeze the juice out without having to like cut it or anything like that. And I tried it the other day, and as you can see, I'm literally just squeezing. I did use this lemon already. It was coming out pretty strong when I first did it. Oh, maybe I have to re-poke a hole. No, it's coming. But it works pretty okay. And now I can use the zest of the lemon later. So yeah, that actually worked, surprisingly. And now I have this like weird deflated lemon, but I can zest it for another recipe. Hello, it's Kristen and welcome back to my channel. Oh god, that royalty-free music. Of cheat puff pastry. Oh no. Okay, so basically I added the salt and then whisked that in. Put that over there. Okay. Then, oh yeah, this is the 25 grams of flour that I have on reserve for rolling, or if I need to add it to this dough at any point. So I'm gonna just keep that on the side. Then I have the frozen grated butter that is frozen to the container. Hello, it's Kristen from the future here, because I realized I didn't record any audio for this part. I'm not sure why I wasn't just explaining it on screen while I was recording. Anywho, I just wanted to show you how it looks when you use butter that's just refrigerated as opposed to butter that's completely frozen solid. And you can see here that it's pretty smeary and it's actually really melting in the palm of my hand. And when you take a look at the grated butter, it came out in these weird sort of tube shapes as opposed to looking like grated cheese. I'm sure clumps like this wouldn't really affect the dough much since we're going to be incorporating it by pinching it into the dough anyway, but it would be nice to have a uniform grated size. So I do recommend going with the completely frozen butter as opposed to using just refrigerated butter. I did try sticking it into the freezer for about 15 minutes to see if I could get it a little bit more cold, but it still wasn't quite as frozen as I would have liked it. Okay. Okay, and then I kind of just stabbed it in with a knife. So I basically just got all of the butter coated in with flour. Coated with flour. Okay. You know what, I might even just go in with my fingers because I feel like it. So I'm just gonna cover these loosely with flour so that it doesn't start melting or get greasy. And then I'm just gonna rub it between my fingers, working really quickly, not to melt the butter. So I'm gonna do that. Feels like there's not enough flour. It's very buttery. So I think I'm gonna add some flour. And that's probably like a tablespoon and a half left in there. So we used half of the flour that's on reserve. It's feeling pretty good, but I might add a little more just because it feels a little bit wet, which makes me nervous for when the water and lemon juice go in. It kind of reminds me of scone dough because you're kind of just loosely incorporating the butter in so that when it bakes, it makes steam and layers and wonderfulness. This is pretty good actually. It feels great, so I'll show you the amount of flour I have left on reserve, which I'm probably just going to use for when we start rolling out the dough. Feels quite sandy, or like wet sand I guess. And the pieces are smaller than pea size in general. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so the butter is still cold, which is good. So we don't want that to warm up too much. Okay, good. So the amount of flour I have left is just this, which is probably about half a tablespoon. Okay, so now I'm going to add the 150 mils of water and the lemon juice. In my previous video, I added the lemon juice to the water, but because this aesthetically pleasing little tiny jug is too small, I'm just gonna kind of alternate adding lemon juice and water. I'll probably do 3 like pours, I guess, I don't really know, of the water, and then in between I'll do the lemon juice. Does that make sense? I don't know, we'll see. So we'll do 1, and then I'll add half the lemon juice, and then I'll use the knife. Just really roughly, you don't want to over mix, or else it'll be really tough. So once you see that most of the water has already saturated in the dough, we'll add the next amount of water. It is quite humid here, so I don't know if I'll need to use all of the water. So we'll see. But definitely use all of the lemon juice. You just don't want any of the flour to still be dry. Like there's still some, I don't know if you can see that, but there's still some like dry pieces of flour down here. So we want that to be incorporated. So just keep chopping away. And I think I will go for that last amount of water. Okay. And then there's just kind of seeds at the bottom, so we don't really want that of the lemon juice. And then we'll scoot this around as per usual. Okay, so I'm gonna pause and come back because this is like probably gonna take me a couple minutes. And I'll come back when it's all incorporated. Okay, I'm back, and it's not sticking around the sides, which is great, but it is rather sticky. Like it's not, I don't know, it seems a little wet. So I'm gonna just add the last tablespoon of flour. I don't know if that's kosher, but alas, we're gonna do it anyway. So I'm gonna just mix that in. Again, I'm just cutting it. You don't want to knead this really because it's not a bread dough. And You want to make sure that the butter is still cold and intact, so the less you work with it, the better. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. Yeah. It's definitely wetter than anticipated. Yeah, see, when I go like this, it kind of sticks to my fingers. Okay, yeah, that looks way less sticky than mine. Okay, so going back to my old video, I was taking it with a bench scraper and I was kind of rolling it around in the bowl, and I noticed that my old recipe, it was like way less sticky, like it wasn't sticking. So what I'm gonna do to help this out a little bit, and I know again might not be kosher, but we're working on the fly here, is that I'm gonna take a little bit of flour, put it into my work surface and turn this around just a little bit. We're not gonna knead it or try not to knead it all that much, but just kind of incorporate flour lightly into the dough to hopefully get it to be less sticky, because right now it's pretty sticky. So I'm gonna grab some flour and we'll be back. Okay, so I just measured out, this is 25 grams of flour. I should bring my scale over. Okay, so yep, 25 grams of flour. And I'm just going to, what should I do here? I'm debating whether or not I want to just sprinkle it over and then cut the flour in, or if I want to turn it out on a floured surface and kind of just fold it over itself. I think I'm gonna go with that route. So we're gonna just lightly flour. I'm gonna keep the flour on a scale so that I can see how much flour I'm using for each pass, I guess. So here, that's just about 5 grams. There we go. Yeah, okay, so that's just about 5 grams of flour right there. So I have 20 grams left. And we're gonna scoop this out. I think the reason why this is more sticky is because my butter wasn't completely frozen, like it was just kind of surface frozen. So we'll see, actually, but I can see pieces of butter in here. If it's not that the butter wasn't completely frozen, then it was likely because I added too much water during the water and lemon phase. So I probably could have held off on the last 2 to 3 tablespoons of water instead of having to add flour here. But I will leave the amount of water the same in the recipe because your flour might be more dry than mine, so it might need more water. You'll just have to decide how much water to add based on how your dough feels. I mean, we're gonna get to this stage anyway where I'm gonna form layers, but oh yeah, you can totally see the butter, but it is sticky because it is sticking to the table. We're getting to the next part just right now. Okay, keep going. I mean, maybe this will help in the layer process for later, but I know some of you are gonna be like, oh my God, wipe off the excess flour, but I just wanna see how it'll be if I don't. Here. Okay. So it's feeling less sticky than before. I can kind of pat it, but that could also be because it's on like a bed of flour right now. So I incorporated, I'm at 15 grams of flour. Oh, see, there's like a smear of butter right here. Okay, so I incorporated about 10 more grams of flour so far. I think I just want to do a little bit more because it's still a little bit sticky. It's not really resisting right now, so I think I'm safe for just one more tri-fold. But then any more than that, I think I'm just going to incorporate the butter, and then that would be a really good thing. So let's get one more tri-fold in, clean up these edges, and then we're going to put it in plastic wrap and continue as normal. Of decisions on the fly here. I'm going to, yeah, see, I can feel the butter starting to leak already, so I'm gonna try fold it and then fold it in half and then just get it into the fridge because we don't want melting. Okay, flatten it out a bit just so that it's not as tall. And then, there we go. Okay, so we got our square. So it's resisting. Now you can see that it's kind of bouncing back. So now we don't really want to work with it. touching it too much. That's what it's saying. So it's still a bit sticky, as you can see, but once all the flour hydrates and it rests, hopefully it'll be less sticky, and we'll try to incorporate the remainder of the flour. I still have 12 grams of flour left from our excursion just now. And yeah, we'll get going on the next part in half an hour, and I'll see you then. Okay, so here's my dough. It's been resting for half an hour. It is less sticky, so that's good. None of it is sticking. And then we're gonna roll it out into a rectangle and then tri-fold it, and then I think we're gonna tri-fold it again. Hold on, let me see. And tri-fold it again. And continue rolling it out. Okay, so I rolled it out into a rectangle and then tri-folded it, and then rotated it, and rolled it, tri-folded it, and then rotated it, rolled it, tri-folded it. So I did it 3 times, folded it in half, put it back in plastic wrap for an hour or overnight, as I mentioned in the video. So we're gonna do that step. I'm gonna use the remaining flour from the last part where we left off last time. And we're gonna get going. So the dough is nice and cold. It's not sticky anymore, which is great. I'm gonna liberally flour this just because I feel like it's really hydrated. It's not sticky, but I feel like there will be problems if I don't use enough flour. So we're gonna do that. This time I'm just gonna press the dough. You can see that it's not resisting this time around, which is awesome. I'm gonna press it because that, in theory, doesn't smear the butter into the... Okay, hey, hi. So my camera ran out of memory. I don't know how much it got, but I've so far just rolled it into a rectangle, and then I still have to tri-fold it. So I do need to wash my hands again, so I'll do that. And I will be back to tri-fold and do the thing. Okay, so fair warning, I am using a different camera because my camera is still uploading the videos and it's taking a long time, so I just switched to a different one. So if the video quality is different or the sound quality is different, that's why. Okay, so let's continue because I still want this to be cold, and the longer it sits out, the worse it gets for me. So let's put a little bit of flour, just a little bit. We don't want too much. And I need a bench scraper. So this bench scraper is easily like one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. I got it at a dollar store. So it came with a large size, which is this size, and a smaller size, which is like half the size, I guess. And I have not used any other bench scraper. I was thinking about getting the metal kind recently, but only because I'm going to be making a wedding cake, and I know that they're very helpful when you try to what's it called? Like even out the buttercream when you're decorating and stuff. So I might get one of those, but in general I just like using this plastic kind because it doesn't scratch my table. So yeah, just a little tidbit about my bench scraper. I know it's like so interesting. I don't know how to do YouTube anymore. Do people even YouTube anymore? And if it gets to be too tough, then we'll let it rest probably for 15 minutes and then go again. So it's not sticking to the table, which is cool. So let's just continue to work fast so that it doesn't ever have to stick to the table. It is sticking to my rolling pin kind of, so we're not in the danger zone yet. Okay, so it's not quite half an inch. Okay, we can go a little bit more. Challenge yourself. Not bad. So now, probably should use my handy dandy bench scraper. Do this. So it is resisting a little bit. It is getting sticky. So I might forego the last turn and just kind of even this out. I might just make a small tri-fold. Yeah, sticky, not good. Okay, So it is getting a little bit sticky. I'm just gonna do a light roll out now, just because I don't want it to start melting. So we're gonna do one last one, but we're not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it all the way out to a big ass rectangle in professional terms, but that's fine. So we'll do that. Let's see, yep, stickage, do not want that. I use pretty much all the flour, all the extra flour. I pretty much used all the extra flour from earlier. Okay, so I'm actually gonna keep it like this and not fold it in half, because that just seems like a better choice. Yay, pat, pat, pat. Okay, actually, you know what? I have a little bit of flour left. I'm gonna just, all these last minute decisions, do my best to kind of roll it out. It's resisting quite a bit now, so let's not toy with fate. Let's leave it in this rectangle here. So in my original video, I rolled it out to a rectangle and then I folded this in half. I mean, I could still do that, but I don't know. It just feels better if I just leave it like this, like a little burrito. So I'm gonna stick it back in the plastic wrap. I will let it rest in the fridge for an hour. And then we will bake something with it. And I think I went like, oh yeah, it was like this. Oops. And like this. Oh, I probably should have done this before I filled it with jam. Yeah, probably would have been a better idea. But alas, here we are.